Hello everyone, I hope we are doing wonderful on this very odd day. We've got a weird energy going on today, but regardless, it's different for everyone. So, we're currently in my living room in my pajamas because today was a lounging around getting stuff done, doing my laundry kind of day, and I was too lazy to change, so it is what it is. But we're hanging out with these stinky babies that you can't currently see, but I'm sure when they start running around, they'll get to say hi. Right, babies? Right, stinky goose? Yeah. So, it feels heavy today. It's feeling a little bit weird, especially with the contrast. Outside is beautiful, it's lovely. It's not entirely warm, but it's not cold either. It looks very beautiful out, at least where I am. Especially with the sun, there's like no clouds, the flowers are blooming already. It's stunning, I love it. But then if you look at the weather app, it's only like 40 degrees and it feels like 38, so that's lovely. No thanks, I'll stay in the house for now until I actually have to leave. Yeah. Needless to say, I'm a little bit of a homebody. Second it gets warm though, you can't catch me in the house, okay? Besides hanging out with my kids, the rats, besides hanging out with them, I'm outside, I'm gone. You'll never see me again. But because of all my health issues, I can't regulate my temperature very well. So when it's kind of chilly, it's like that in between of freezing and warm. I can't do it. I need it to be like a solid mid 60s or higher, but like below high 80s, and I'm perfect. But I live in Massachusetts, so that never happens. So. But I digress. That's not what we're here to talk about. I was getting to a point there, I promise. But even with all the beautiful sun and flowers out, it still feels a little bit heavy. So we're here to talk, we're here to discuss what's going on. It's funny, Claire de Lune just came on. But for me, there's a lot of heavy emotions it brings up. So again, little synchronicities, little signs. So especially with everything going on politically right now, we're not going to get into that because that's not the conversation we're having. But I'm just saying, for a lot of us, it's heavy on our minds regardless of how we feel. So it's a very big conversation. For me, it's definitely not a positive one, but that is partially why everything feels so gross right now. In times like these, where everything is all over the place and we feel so polarized, both by the media and within every single community we're in, we have to remember to be ourselves and voice what we truly feel, while still being mindful of other people and acknowledging that some people may not believe the same things that we do, but that doesn't make it any less of their opinion than it makes our opinions ours. Does that make sense? I just had a very big argument with my roommate the other day, and this kind of is what sparked this whole conversation. I'm a very, very opinionated person, and if I think something is incorrect, or, I know that it's not correct, I will argue that point, especially when the other person is being very dismissive of what I'm trying to say. Then I get upset. In the beginning, I'll say, well, no, did you know that this is actually misinformation, and here's why? And if they say, well, I don't believe that because of XYZ, then I'm gonna, continue to give them the facts, which sometimes is not necessary. Sometimes we need to just say, we're done, conversation over, we don't need to talk about this right now, agree to disagree. But that only works for certain things. Like, we were arguing about MSG and whether it was really bad for your health and whatnot. And I got upset because a lot of the ideas about why MSG is bad for you was rooted in racism and, just not very super swag slay things. So I got a little bit defensive because I don't like when people spread misinformation that is surrounded by fear-mongering. So I got defensive. In reality, it really wasn't that big of an issue, and I should have just said, it's fine. Maybe look into it. Maybe do your own research and figure out if your old ideas are still factually correct. Regardless. So that was a conversation, but it made me realize some things, which is good. I'm still young. My brain is still developing. I haven't hit the mid to late 20s yet, so I'm still growing. But I'm in that in between stage of life where I'm still learning, but I've also learned a lot from the experiences I've already experienced, especially considering that I've gone through some pretty intense things that we're not going to talk about today. But I had to grow up a lot quicker than most people, so I've been through things that a lot of people my age probably haven't. So, in turn, my brain is like, well, we're smarter than other people because we've experienced more and we've had more, learning opportunities? I don't know. In reality, we're all kind of in the same place. Yes, some of us might be more mature than others, but we're all still learning. A lot of what I've learned is from the universe, from source, divine, God, whatever it is that you believe. They've taught me most of the things that I can now teach other people, and I'm forever grateful for that. And I think because I've had the opportunity to learn and grow in that way, I have a hard time sitting back when people haven't also gone through those experiences and learned the same things that I have. And that's something I need to work on. But I was also called to talk about it today to hopefully, help other people who potentially might be in the same space that I am, where we've learned so much and we've grown so much. So when we see people going through things that we did maybe a couple years back, maybe, a little while ago in our lives, we want to sit there and we want to help them, but that's not our place. That's unless they ask for our help, that's not our place. That's the universe's place. That is whoever they ask for help's place. That's not ours. And especially in times like this, we can only do so much. If they ask for help, if they ask for potential ways to, I don't want to say fix their situation, but potential ways to ease the anxiety or any hard feelings and emotions that are being brought up because of these experiences, those are potential ways we can help them. But if they don't ask for it, then we can't. That's not our place. So we have to be mindful of not overstepping our boundaries. And especially for people who, like me, have a very hard time keeping our mouths shut. Even if it's not coming from a place of malice, some people won't take it like that. Okay? And there's room for being authentic and voicing our opinions, but there's also a time and a place for sitting back and saying, hey, right now might not be the time to be as vocal as we normally would. Now might be the time to say, hey, why do you think that? And try to come at it from a much more positive angle. And even if they don't want to, then that's okay. You say, okay, we don't need to have this conversation, and we let it go. Unless it's something that very strongly contradicts your morals, then obviously do with that what you will. But I'm talking about smaller situations that aren't necessarily something that's going to ruin a relationship or a friendship or, like a coworker dynamic, okay? Like if there's something that they're talking about that is just, like, let's say they're saying something very, very racist and you just don't agree with it in any way, shape, or form, and they refuse to acknowledge why it might not be okay. In that sense, you just say, hey, if you are going to continue to think like this and spread racist, really crappy ideas, then I'm not going to want to associate with you. Because obviously they do not want to change their ideas. They don't want to change their opinions. And that is within their own right. But that does not mean you have to stick around and be surrounded by people who do not share the same ideas as you, okay? We have our boundaries. We have our morals for a reason. They are meant to, prevent people who do not align with them in our lives for a reason, because they just do not align with how we think and how we behave and how we act. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just means that at their core, they are just a fundamentally different person than we are. And sometimes we can, engage with those people and be civil, and it's perfectly fine. But for me, I'm not going to get very close to people who are racist or transphobic or homophobic, because that's just not who I am. And while I may not sit there and continue to argue with them and try and change their mind, I'm also not going to let them continue to stay in my life, okay? So we have to pick and choose when it's time for us to defend ourselves and defend our morals, especially when we know that something is just blatantly wrong and it's hurtful. But we also have to know when to just say, you know what, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt them. I just need to leave, okay? Does that make sense? Because throughout my whole entire life, I've always been the person to argue, fight, continue to make sure that my point is proven so that I've done all I can. But that doesn't mean anything. If they truly believe in those ideas and their opinions, then nothing that we say is going to change that, okay? And that doesn't mean we failed, or that doesn't mean that we're any less, strong in our opinions and whatnot, But it also means we're conserving our energy and we're using it for things that will actually help. Let's say you are very supportive of our trans friends, and instead of fighting with every single transphobe you see online, you can help fund different things like Planned Parenthood, who help get trans people their hormones and things like that. There's other ways to do it. We can directly support the people who need to be supported, and that will actually make a difference versus arguing with people and spreading more hate, even though we know that what they're saying is wrong. I hope that makes sense. And obviously there's a time and a place to use your platform to say, hey, this is what I believe in, here's why. But then you also have to be mindful that there's going to be people who disagree with you, and you can choose whether to take your time and energy and use that to fight them and argue with them, or you could say, I understand that you have different opinions, but you're not who this is meant for. And I'm not going to argue with you because you do not want to see things my way, and that's okay. Because we're all human, we have autonomy, we can choose whatever we want to believe in. Just like being spiritual, we choose to believe in the universe, God, the divine, Jesus, etc., etc. They can choose to believe in what they believe in. And as someone who, I don't like the idea of hurting other people, of spreading hatred and fear and stuff like that, it's hard for me to sit back and say, you know what, I'm not gonna contradict this, and I'm not gonna tell them that they're wrong, because it upsets me. But by fighting them, I'm just helping bring energy and attention to that, and it's stinky, it's bad. You don't want to do that. So, what I'm trying to say is, sometimes we need to learn when it's time to argue our point and when it's time to use our platforms to spread our truth and our opinions and help other people. But we also need to learn when it's time to just let it go, because it's falling on deaf ears. They aren't going to listen no matter how much you try to make them listen. Okay? But I think in a time like this, when it's rooted in our everyday lives to be one way or the other, it's really hard to just sit back and observe and let things happen, because everything is based in hating the other person and, further spreading us apart and making us dislike each other, which isn't helpful. The only way to make change is by acknowledging the other perspectives and trying to see where they come from, but also staying true to ourselves. It's being open to new perspectives, but also knowing, okay, I still don't agree with that, but I'm not gonna hate you and think you're a disgusting human being just because you don't agree with me. Again, depending on what it is, okay? And it's hard right now because everything is so black and white. It's either this or this, and it's almost impossible to find any, in between, because the ideas are genuinely so polar opposite. But we can hate the ideas, the rhetoric that's being spread, without hating the people. They are just people who have been told the wrong things, and we can't change that, okay? We can continue to say, hey, I don't agree with you. And if they would like to listen, they can, but we can't hate them for being told the wrong things. We have to be more mad at the people who are spreading that and who started it, okay? Yes, it's still bad for them to be feeding into the oppression and whatnot, but you also have to take into consideration why they are the way that they are. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I have a couple more things I want to talk about, but they're a little bit different. So you can continue to listen to this, or you can click off whatever you want. It's kind of on the same page, but it's a little bit different. So in times like this, when everything is so polar opposite, I find that, for me at least, the universe is very, very passionate about finding comfort in our passions and our creativities, and the other people that also find community in that. So for me, I've recently gotten back into painting, and I'm really hoping to start posting about that. A loud car, sorry. Start posting about it and start doing it more, because I genuinely enjoy it. And I'm hoping to find other people who also enjoy painting. But, in a painting community, the whole concept is not to talk about things outside of painting, really. What you're talking about is that passion, is that creativity, is painting, and you don't necessarily have to worry about all the other things that are causing us to feel so crappy at the moment. It's almost like a distraction, but it's a positive one, because it fuels our inner child. It makes us creative. It makes us stronger people. And a lot of people, painting, art may not be their thing. That's okay. But whatever it is that does bring you joy, it could be reading, it could be, budgeting, it could be creating new projects, it could be helping other people find what they're passionate about, it could be anything. And right now is the time to really focus on that, especially when everything else is so all over the place. You can find stability in your passions. I don't know if you heard that. My stairs just creaked really loudly. My house does that. Anytime they are agreeing with a point, or they're saying confirmation, they'll just knock a little bit, creak the floor, and I'm like, okay guys. So if you ever hear some weird wonky noises, it's just the house agreeing. I don't ask questions. I love her. You know what? If that's how she wants to communicate with me, I love it. I'm just glad she wants to be part of it. And for me, right now, I'm trying to explore new passions, find new things, because I'm kind of in a very all over the place. I have a fluff in my hair, I think. Anyways, I'm kind of in an all over the place point in my life. I'm in between one, era, and I'm stepping into a new one. And finding new things, new hobbies, new passions has been what's really helpful for me to get out of bed every day, to find something to do. Obviously, besides my animals, besides the things that I have to do, that's what's truly made it worthwhile. And I really, really want to vouch for other people to try and find the same things, especially on social media when we're constantly flooded with just so much sadness and jealousy and so many opposing opinions and whatnot. We need to just take a step back and find what we enjoy doing. And you can obviously spread that on social media like I am, but we need to be mindful of what we're consuming and what we're putting out there. And for me, I want to try consuming more positive things, more things that, raise me up, help me grow as a human being, versus things that just reiterate the same things that I already know. The same things that keep making me upset, the same things that keep, bringing me down. And that's not to say to be completely oblivious and just shut out everything that's going on in the world, because it doesn't make us happy. But we also can't spend every single day 24/7 consuming things that aren't helping us, that aren't making us feel better. And even if it's just saying, okay, I'm only going to watch the news for 10 minutes today. I'm only going to consume social media for 20 minutes today. It makes a difference. Or just going through the people you follow and deciding this is who I want to engage with because they are, aligning with what I want to view right now and what I want to consume right now. And that is really, really important currently when there's just so much chaos. Recently, Hecate and Loki have been very, very apparent in my life, and they wanted to, make a little statement. And if you do not believe in them and you do not worship them, then that is okay. This message is not for you. But for those that do, this is for you. So, Hecate, being the goddess of crossroads and such, right now she's very intertwined with everything that is going on because we are in such a crossroads right now. We are in between two different possibilities, and she wants to remind us that no matter what the outcome is, we will be okay. It may not be the outcome we want, but we will figure this out because we are so strong and we are so resilient that we will do it. And for me as a witch, she's been really helping me learn more about spiritualism and connecting with my mediumship abilities because that's something I have passion for. And for anyone who also resonates with that, I have a hair in my nose, who also resonates with that, now's a really good time to worship her and learn from her if that is something you wish to do. She might not connect with you directly, but you can still learn about her beliefs and what she teaches others, and you can start to integrate that into your life. Hello? Anyways, we'll leave that there. Thank you, Hecate. Loki, as the trickster deity that they are, I'm going to use they because Loki is, kind of both, and people believe different things about it, so we're gonna be gender neutral. We're gonna go with they. Ooh, my ear's itchy, pardon. That was odd. Okay. With chaos being abound right now, again, they're very, they're watching it happen. Just like Eris and a lot of the other chaos deities, they're all kind of just sitting back and going, I don't even gotta do anything. They're doing it for us. While they may also, they have their fingers in it too. They're making stuff happen, but whatever. Loki is such an interesting being that I am being called to learn more about. So this is a confirmation to anyone else that also wants to learn more about them. Probably why I'm being told to say something. But now is a good time to connect with them, to help find stability in this chaos, to help learn how to integrate the chaotic energy into your practices and what you do. Because when chaos is abound, sometimes the best way to deal with it is to accept it and integrate it and not let it make you feel crappy. And I'm not saying become the negative chaos, if you understand what I'm saying, but the energy is just chaotic because there's so much happening, there's so much changing, and instead of being thrown off when every little thing keeps changing, say, you know what? I'm gonna accept that it's changed and we're gonna see where it takes me, because it changed for a reason and there's nothing I can do about it now. Like, I had an important doctor's appointment that I was supposed to have the other day, and I ended up getting sick, so I had to change it, but I was able to get an appointment for this upcoming Monday, so it ended up working out regardless. And instead, on the day that I was supposed to have my appointment, I was able to just relax and recharge and rest, because that was something I had been greatly neglecting. Yeah. So instead of getting upset and being like, I wanted to go to this doctor's appointment because it was so important, I said, you know what? I'll just do something else today. I'll do something else that I've been needing to do today, because obviously I'm staying home for a reason. So, anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling, ranting, yapping away, because if any of you know me, I will continue to yap. I'm hoping to post more, considering this is my first ever video. Hi, thank you for coming. I've been really called to post, and I'm not really sure where to start. So instead of thinking about it too much, I'm just gonna go for it. And it's not gonna be perfect. I don't know anything about editing or whatnot. So we're just gonna be authentic. We're gonna be ourselves, and we're gonna put it out there, okay? And you know what? That's fine. That's okay. But we're gonna grab a baby so you can say hi before I skedaddle, because I think they want to say hi. Even if they don't want to, I want you guys to meet them. So, one, we have Freya. Hi, puppies. This is my Freya. Oh, you were sleeping. You want to go back to bed? I love you. Go lay back down. I'll get you a snack in 1 minute, okay? You'll be reinstated for your, discomfort. And then this is Pearl. She's an ode to Aphrodite, because Aphrodite didn't want her to have the name Aphrodite, but she said, Pearl is close enough. I like that. And at the time, she looked like a little pearl because she was the smallest. She has a big lumpy. We've been keeping in touch with her vet to make sure it's all good. And the vet says she's healthy, she's happy. It's just a little bit awkward. So, And she has respiratory issues. She has health issues. So putting her under to get it removed wasn't an option. And that's it. I don't know where I was going with that. I was going to go on a whole rant, but I decided against it, because today is not a rant about taking care of rats. It's a rant about finding what makes us happy and passionate. For me, that's rats. For me, that's spreading hopefully helpful information and learning new things, because what else is there? What is happening? So many cars revving outside my house. Lord. Anyways. I've not taken my ADHD medicine today, so I apologize if this is all over the place, but I find that my most genuine, authentic... Ooh, my bad. I was putting a deck down. My bad. Oy. My most genuine, authentic messages come when I'm not, locked in. When my brain isn't being altered? Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like that's not the right term, but... Anyways, thank you so much for being here. It was lovely chatting with you all today. If you have anything you want to add to the conversation or any questions, please feel free to comment them down below, and I will do my very best to answer them. But anyways, Thank you all for joining me. I hope some of that was helpful, and I will see you all in another video. Bye-bye.